Yeah. Wanna go to war? Let's do it. I'm Black Hannibal, running through your capital on elephants. Civilize a savage with my elegance. Militant intelligence, run through your defense. Strike like a ninja, slice, cut, and injure. Leave no prisoners, just bodies on the battlefield. I'm Spartacus with a sword and shield. Something like a marksman with cold blue steel. War paint on my face, keep my identity concealed. Advance on your camp like dozens of killer ants. Snatch your king like chess, checkmate, this is death. While my team have fun with your queen. Throw your bishops off the roof, your knights flee the scene. I plant bombs in the home of your pawns. The detonation shook the foundation of your rooks. Holding shotguns with double barrels. They impact so hard when it blasts through your body travels. Yeah. Street Spartacus. Black Spartacus. Black Spartacus. Black Spartacus. Black Spartacus. Black Spartacus. Burn your flag as I overthrow your government. New politics, no Democrats and Republicans. Spiritual systems built by wise men who's true in living. The foundation's no longer Christian. Teaching universally the wisdom of the nations. New currency, no more dollar bills with white faces. No more Caucasian domination. All races participate in cultivating education. The people hungry and they ain't waiting. No more debating. Let's overthrow the haven to Satan. This whole world needs some new changes. Rulers with new faces. It's time to take out the racists. Spartacus from the new ages. From the page to the stage, pull a blade on the money changers. Spartacus from the new ages. From this page to the stage, pull a blade on the money changers. Peace, power, and prosperity. I am Rob Blackstorm, and I discuss all things spiritual, esoteric, occult, magnificent, and metaphysical. I have with me two of my guests. Let's bring them up. I have Mel, Divine Feminine Works, and I have Monique Ruffin, the Moon Mama, the beautiful, the excellent, the geniuses, the Zodiac Queens. Welcome to the show. Welcome back. Welcome back. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have you out here. All right. Everybody can hear me okay, I hope. All right. If you are here, please smash that like button. I would appreciate it. Let me know how the audio is. All right. We got some people coming in the building. Shout out to our Ring Dios. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, brother. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, I haven't seen you, so good to know you, that you are here. All right, let's get it popping in this mother. So, ladies, we just had a very intense full moon, I want to say. A lot of people were going through it. I heard a lot of arguments here in my building here in New York. A lot of relationship issues. My landlord was beefing with her husband for about 3 days. Think they weren't talking. So she asked me for some counsel. I gave it to her. It seemed like they back on good terms. So, it's been a very intense time for a lot of people. I think even the sleepwalkers are feeling it based on what I'm seeing on social media, some of the energy that's coming out. Want to talk about, first and foremost, Mercury retrograde in the shadow period. I want to discuss that first and foremost. I know Mercury retrograde is a time period, especially in pop culture. We're taught to be kind of scared of Mercury retrograde, fearful. Nobody talks about Aries or Gemini or any Mars, that's retrograde right now in Gemini, right? Which is super intense when it comes to communication and things like that. Nobody talks about these type of retrogrades, but it's only Mercury. Now, I know Mercury is the planet closest to the sun. It's the messenger planet, right? Whoever wants to go first out of you lovely ladies, what do you think the significance of this particular shadow period of Mercury retrograde and the Mercury retrograde moving forward that's going to occur? I believe it's during the winter solstice. I may be wrong. But what do you think is at play here during this time?
You can go, Monique.
Okay. Thank you. So Mercury retrograde is my favorite conversation, other than the moon. I love all astrology, but Mercury retrograde is a really powerful energy because 3 times a year, every 88 days, Mercury turns retrograde. Now, it's important for us to know that it's really an illusion and a play on the eye. It's as if you have two cars stopped at a red light, and one of the cars takes off and goes really, really fast. And the car that's going really, really fast, if you look in the rear view mirror of that car, it will appear that the other cars, if they're going a normal speed or a much slower speed, it'll appear that they're going backwards. That's the illusion that's happening with Mercury retrograde. It is a play on our perception and our consciousness. Um, but so every 88 days, we have an opportunity to review, to renew, to restore. And because Mercury governs our mind, and this is a mental reality, everything here is mental, coming out of our thoughts, out of our communication, out of our spoken word. We have this opportunity every 88 days to reorient the energy so that it becomes, so that it's much more aligned to who we desire to be in our, to create intentions towards where we want the energy to be. Now, this Mercury retrograde is happening in Capricorn, and Capricorn has had Pluto there since 2007.
Yes.
So, what that means is that Pluto has been really unraveling the power of Capricorn, which is about our authority. It's about the things that we give our authority to, right? So as a woman, that might be for me, it's like, oh, I might give my authority to the idea of the masculine as my leader. I might give my authority to government officials, teachers, doctors, all the people that we are conditioned to say that they are the expert and we know nothing, right? Especially, for instance, like women, when we go to the doctor, it's like we don't know anything about our bodies. They know everything. They know how we should have babies. They know what we feed the babies. They know, but we know nothing. And that's power, is what that is. That's about power. So we have been abdicating our power to people who are in control of these systems that are telling us how to live our lives. Now, as Pluto has come to America's Pluto return, meaning Pluto is where it was 270 years ago, those authority systems that were constructed are now coming undone. So the way we gave our power to the president and said, here, I'm gonna vote for you, go save the world. I really want people to know from a place of love that every time you've given your power away to someone, that's an illusion. It's never real. It's and we're still completely responsible for every choice that we don't make, or every choice that they do make. So when they go and entice war all around the world, we're responsible for that energetically and karmically. I need us to understand that we are participating and we are never off the hook. Ever.
Good. That's good. Yeah.
Okay. So
That's accountability for your ass, right? Shit.
that's accountability for your.
You're accountable for the world. Jesus Christ, bro. Okay, go ahead. I'm strapped in. I'm strapped in.
Take it off. I mean, we're all here together. Oneness is the name of this game. But we've been convinced that separation is the name of this game, but that's an illusion. So this Mercury retrograde is here in Capricorn to assist us in calling our power back to us. How do we call our power home? How do we come into our own authority? And begin. Now, this is an intense process, because I find that I have discovered training my mind is like looking for a needle in a haystack. It really is, because the mind is busy and it's creating all sorts of scenarios, whether I'm conscious of it or not. So this is why the rituals are important, because the rituals set the tone. The rituals and the intention set the tone. So what we have this Mercury retrograde is an opportunity to to claim our power back. If you want me to talk deeper about it, I don't want to take up all this time, but I
No,
can talk
go ahead. Go
about
ahead.
the major transits that are happening that we will really be most impacted by. I also want people to know that I teach a class on this. I'm teaching it now. I'm teaching it in the shadow period and through, so it's going to go until February 8th. But here okay, so the major transits are Mercury trine the North Node. And so Mercury trining the North Node, which is currently in Taurus. So Mercury trining that North Node, which is giving us easy guidance forward. So one of the things that's available during this Mercury retrograde is for us to be able to move forward, to be able to move ourselves forward, because it's going to hit the North Node 3 times: December 15th, January 13th, and January 22nd. It's going to trine Uranus, which is about surprises and unexpected shifts and pivots. So you will see this happen in your life. Because it's about authority, you might think somebody was taking care of something, but they weren't, because it was really yours to do. But I told you and you did. Nope, that's not what's going on, right? So Mercury trining Uranus. Mercury in a sextile with Neptune, which means that we have an opportunity to deepen our intuition and our spiritual guidance, and use tools that will benefit us. This is December 24th, January 1st, February 6th. Mercury conjunct Mercury in conjunct Mars. So this is a big deal because Mars is in Gemini, which Mercury rules. And Mercury in conjunct to anything means that you have to give up something. You have to give up a way of thinking or a way of being in order to get aligned to the new. It's like changing railroad tracks. You got to get off the old track and get on the new one. December 15th, January 16th, January 20th. Mercury square Chiron, which means that we're going to be triggered in our wounds. Squares mean it's a hard angle. So our wounds are going to show up. So
When is
Chiron,
that happening? Because that's what I need to know. When's that happening? I need to write that.
right? December 14th. So think about what was going on a few days ago. December 14th. Look at your
Okay.
calendar. January 11th, it'll come back again, and then January 27th. And
Okay.
this is about the wounds in our identity, where we give our power away, where we don't believe in ourselves, where we're not confident. Mercury semi-square Saturn. And this limited thinking and judgments and delays, December 10th, January 14th, and January 23rd. So those are the days where we get to really get clear about our personal responsibility. Like, is this mine or does this belong to somebody else? you know? So that's what we're going to be working with for this Mercury retrograde. And if you guys want to come join the class, I encourage you to do it because that's where we get all the magic from. So that's Mercury retrograde. That's my take on it.
Yeah, that was a lot. But yes, that is definitely the essence of this Mercury retrograde. And anytime you talk about Capricorn, you definitely talk about responsibility, you talk about work, you talk about status, you talk about reputation, all of those things that are very public facing. Capricorn has a lot to do with our reputation, our public persona in a way. And so a lot of that Mercury retrograde energy is going to be directed inward and basically showing us or allowing us to reflect on how much work we've actually put in. Like, what have we actually been doing? Where have we been spending our energy? Where have we been planting seeds? And have those seeds come to fruition? Because one of the characteristics of Capricorn energy is success. And obviously, success is measured by results. So, what results have you achieved? Perhaps in the last year, maybe even the last couple of months. It's interesting that this is happening at the very tail end of the year when people are already sort of in a reflective kind of mode anyway. Everyone's getting ready for, the new fiscal year and all of that stuff. And Mercury retrograde allows you to really take stock of what you've been doing, And me personally, I like Mercury retrograde. Being a Virgo, we feel it a little more than most. Like us and Gemini, we feel it a lot. But it's really reflective and it really gets you in a place of being able to redo things. That's the best thing about Mercury retrograde that I think people don't talk about enough. Everyone talks about everything, you know, your electronics and stuff. And of course, that's going to happen. Mercury is the trickster. And so Mercury retrograde is kind of the time when the universe can play little tricks on you. And it's not even just to play tricks on you, just to fuck with you, really. It's about getting you to be intentional about what you do, right? Because if you know that there's going to be delays in terms of transportation, if you know that your electronics may or may not function properly, it makes you be really intentional with what you're doing, really put thought into things. The way that we operate as society, everything is like microwave, right? Everything goes at the speed of light. And we really not only take things for granted, but we overlook things. We're like zombies sometimes, and we really don't pay attention to what we're doing. So Mercury retrograde keeps you on your toes and allows you to be intentional with what you do, right? But by and large, I feel like this particular Mercury retrograde, it's all about what have you achieved? What and much like Monique said, it's about your authority. Like, how have you been giving your authority away? Are you autonomous, or are you just following the crowd? I mean, this particular new moon coupled with this Mercury retrograde is super important, especially for what's coming up towards the end of the first quarter in January, because we're on the brink of a new generation, like literally speaking. And this Mercury retrograde is your chance to get your mind right. And the new moon is the chance for you to sort of plant those seeds, blaze new trails, start your own new traditions, because we're on the brink of a whole new era right now.
Yes, we are. Yes, we
Yes, I agree. I agree. You know, in when you're dealing with the Orishas, you know, one of them is, you know, the trickster Eshu, right?
Yeah,
Would be
Papa
associated,
Legba.
Papa Legba, yeah, would be
Mhm.
associated with Mercury. Also, a bit of Tahuti wisdom, right, on a higher echelon of Mercury. And I think it's very important when we look at Mercury retrograde. I saw a wise sister on IG say that a retrograde is like when you go into your car and you left your keys and then you double back because you're trying to find where you may have dropped your keys or where you may have left your keys. So it's kind of that period where you're looking at the details of your life, right? So I also think during the shadow period, it's very important for us to, you know, make sure that the messages that we're receiving, you know, I dropped a video about like I was prompted by spirit to watch Venom this weekend, rewatch Venom, right? And funny thing is, I got visited by a spider. I've never literally a spider dropped. As I uploaded the video, I turned in my dress and a spider dropped right in front of me, a white spider attacked. And Venom has a white spider on his chest.
Wow.
Then later that night, spider, this was last night, a black spider. So I don't know where these spiders came from. I never saw spiders in my room. I don't see webs. So it was very, very, very interesting and very timely. And Anansi is also a trickster spirit as well, right? Which is the spider spirit. But it's the spirit of stories, right? Really, Anansi is a spirit of stories. So are you tricking yourself with the story that you're telling yourself? Are you telling yourself that everything's okay? Are you telling yourself that when I get this amount of money, it's going to be all right? Are you telling yourself that, yeah, when 2023 hits, everything's going to be great, but you're not doing any work to make anything great? You don't have your messaging correct. Your messaging is off. You're listening to the wrong messages. You're still worried about using magic to bind a man or bind a woman or having a quick money spell or, you know, these things that in the occult community are very popular, but they don't require much of your actual thought process or you actually doing mental work or many mental changing. You're really just trying to it's like a get rich quick scheme or possess somebody quick scheme. And being that we're in the shadow period before we actually hit the retrograde and the reflection is really going to be on its peak, I think especially with Mars being in Gemini, that aggressive energy of Mars where we're really going to be forced to reflect. Because, you know, the New Year's time, around that time, this is where people, you know, delete themselves. You know, a lot of these last couple of weeks is New Year's, the week after, it's like a lot of people delete themselves around that time. So we really want to be careful that we're not deluding ourselves with the messaging that we're getting. We don't think that we're hearing things from spirit, but we're really just hearing things from the radio. You know, we may have heard something from rap or something from a movie, and we think we're hearing things from spirit. but they're not things from spirit. Things from spirit are always going to be to inspire others. They're always going to be to elevate yourself. They're always going to be to elevate your family. And they're always going to be something innovative, usually out of the box, usually things that people are not thinking about, usually things that are going to take you in a direction that is off the beaten path. So if you're still caught up in groupthink, right, you're still anti-white man, you're still anti-government, you're still anti this or anti that, you really have to look and reflect on why, what type of messaging. You're still waiting for reparations to save you. You still think the aliens are going to come save you. You really want to look and reflect on why. What is the reason why you think something outside of yourself is going to save you rather than your own mind, the gem in your own eye, right?
You
And
forgot
how are you?
this.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Yeah, Jesus, the big homie's gonna come down to save you. Even though he didn't come during the pandemic, even though he didn't come during slavery, even though he didn't come with the rolls throwing the Christians in the pit, he's gonna come down. He's coming,
Yeah.
don't worry. Because there's gonna be wars on top of wars and nations rising against nations. Like that didn't happen hundreds of years ago, but you know, that's the story that people choose to believe in. But I always say that with speaking about Christianity, like that's the real Antichrist. The whole system of Christianity is the Antichrist.
Isn't
Like
it?
the whole system.
The
Because
whole,
there's no feminine energy. Even the
None.
cross, there's no womb. Like the Cometians, the Egyptians, they have the ark with the womb, but the
yes.
cross, there's no womb. So it's the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. There's no feminine energy.
Mhm.
So you can't be anointed. The Christ is an anointing. Anointing is similar to being born, to being in the amniotic fluid when you are a zygote, developing into a fetus. So there's without that womb energy, how can you say that, what kind of religion is that that's going to tell you could be anointed like the Christ? Even Christ had to be baptized in water.
Mhm.
Even Jesus had to be baptized in water. So, that type of system, I don't knock people, if you're serious at something and you're dedicated and it's making you feel better, by all means, But I feel like that system from people that I know that are devout in it, it makes them very judgmental. And they have, again, that false messaging, right? That's what we're talking about. It's heavy with that Mercury retrograde energy coming up all these days that you were speaking about, Mo. Like it's heavy energy, and we really want to be reflecting on things that are going to take us to and that make us accountable, for our actions, not just, waiting on something again outside of you. There's a lot of people that are waiting for something to happen outside of them. That's what I feel like. And also being accountable for your actions as part of the collective, which is
Yes.
what Aquarius, we're in the age of Aquarius. So that's what Aquarius season this Aquarius season is really this Genesis, right? This Renaissance period, this beginning of Aquarius is all about the collective. So how are you interacting with the collective, your fellow man? The same, I put a comment in somebody's thing on IG. That's why I'm saying I'm gonna stay away from these comment sections earlier. And man, these people, and all I said was like, look, we got to show these just women grace, like everybody didn't know what we know today. And they were just piling on this woman. She was doing something. The prince of the used to be royal family, right? Because I don't give him that type of title. But who used to be royal family, and this black woman was kind of kneeling when she was crawling.
Oh, I think I saw that.
Yeah, she was kneeling, and I was like, "Yo, you gotta, everybody's." I'm like, "You gotta give. This is a black woman, like Black
Yes,
Lives
I saw
Matter,
that
right?
video.
Yeah.
I saw
Black
that.
Lives, right? That's people was blacking out they IG, right? Black Lives Matter. People was running the street, but when it's do Black Lives Matter only if it's people that you agree with? Like, what type of messaging do you really have, right?
Mhm.
Are you really consistent with your messaging? Are you honest with yourself about your messaging? Are you honest about the things that come out your mouth? Are you talking love and light and peace and happiness and black power and unity, or unity for the collective? But really, you have biases that you haven't really worked out. So
Right.
it's really getting to the depths of this reflective time, especially during this shadow portion of Sagittarius season that we're in, going into this winter solstice. So we really come out of 2023. Another thing, 2023, it's looking like there's going to be a big stock market crash. I'm going to talk about another video, but BlackRock, which owns pretty much everything, BlackRock owns everything in America, and that conglomerate is predicting a stock market crash, and they have the power to make it happen. And they also want to institute this coin. I'm not going to be too long-winded. I just want to get this out. They're going to institute this coin coming up. They're already in a 12-week trial with every bank with this central digital currency that's coming. So it's coming. It's not like it's not coming. The best way to institute it is to crash the stock market, right? To lower it so that people have to depend on the coin. I'm not in the government, but if I could think of this, and they're putting articles saying that the stock market is going to crash, this is probably what's going to happen. People are going to go in panic, right? As my man Adika Butler say, the savages are going to be running wild. And you have to be of a person that's up level head so that you know how to navigate the system and you could see the way out. Because there are going to be escapes. This is going to be a great wealth transfer if you could see beyond the perspective of the human, beyond the perspective of the crowd, beyond the fear that is going to be pumped into the news, into social media, into everything that is around you, your family, your friends. You have to be the one that is of level-headed to be able to, again, see that gem in your eye. So I just want to talk about that. All right. Let us go into, so we talked about the Mercury retro, talked about the shadow period. Let's talk about the new moon. Actually, no, before that, let's talk about Capricorn season, right? Ruled by Saturn. A lot of people don't like Saturn, right? Because it's the box, right? That it puts you in, the discipline, the structure that people have to, a lot of people on this path, especially spiritual people, what I realized doing a lot of readings is they like escapism, right? They like spiritual experiences, right? They like to feel things, see things, right? Rather than becoming, right? It's like, oh, I took some mushrooms. I feel great, Let me keep taking like every single day. Oh, I want to have an experience where I go to the void and that's it. But it's like just the experience is not enough. Talk to me about what you guys see as far as this Capricorn season. I think it's very important, especially going into the winter solstice. But talk to me about this Capricorn season, what you guys see as far as the stars are concerned.
So
I guess we could start with you, Mel, since Mo went first.
Yes.
So I'd actually put out a video like a week and a half ago about Capricorn season. And so Capricorn is a cardinal sign, right? And cardinal signs are all about new energy. It's about starting, it's about initiating. But Capricorn doesn't always I don't think people necessarily associate that with Capricorn off the bat because Capricorn is such heavy energy. Because it's ruled by Saturn, because it begins at the winter solstice, it's almost like being stuck in a block of ice and trying to start something new, right? It can be difficult. But the thing is, Capricorn energy is staying power. It's not sort of like what you said before. Everyone likes like Venus or Jupiter energy, right? They love that feel good, romance, money, but you can't have that. That's only one side of the coin. You can't have that without discipline. You can't have that without obstacles, without challenges. And Saturn energy, although it sucks because it is hard, it is challenging, but it builds character. And Saturn will always give you rewards. If you work hard, Saturn will bless you in a way that is not instant. It's not like Aries energy or even Jupiter energy that's large and immediate. Saturn rewards, you work hard for them, but they last, right? So this particular Capricorn season is really about knowing who you are. And I say this particular Capricorn season because, like I alluded to before, we're about to enter a completely new generation. A lot of what we've depended on, a lot of the structures that we've attached ourselves to are crumbling or have crumbled. And we're sort of at the precipice of the new. It's almost like we got one foot in and one foot out. And
Earth, right?
For some, what's coming is going to be a war. Well, there is a war coming. Let's just be real about that, right? But a lot of people, that war is going to be internal. That war is going to be internal. And a lot of people are feeling that right now with Mercury and Gemini. I'm sorry, Mars in Gemini, especially Mars retrograde in Gemini. A lot of people are fighting themselves. A lot of people don't necessarily know who they are. And if you're on, if the ground itself is already unstable, right? Because we're sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. If you don't know yourself, you are just going to get either lost in the sauce or decimated. And like I said before, Capricorn is all about, it's about crystallization. It's about building a foundation. So this Capricorn season gives you, if you are strong in who you are, if you know who you are, if you are faithful to who you are, who you want to be, what your purpose is, you're going to be able to navigate this unsteady foundation much better than someone who has no clue who they are or what they're here to do. And so Capricorn season allows you to plant those seeds. Remember, I said it's a cardinal sign, so it's all about new energy and it's starting new. You can plant those seeds of who you choose to be. And like Mo was saying before, you don't have to attach yourself to what you've attached to in the past. Whether you attach to the government, whether you attach to a particular group, you don't have to, right? You can form a completely new identity, but you have to be rooted in it right now. And so Capricorn season is all about that. And Rob, sort of what you were saying before about the stories you're telling yourself, right? The best thing that this Mercury retrograde can do is you can rewrite the stories you've been telling yourself. You can forge a completely new story. You can blaze a new trail so that when Mercury retrograde is over, once Pluto enters Aquarius come March, you're going to be in a completely different person, completely different place. But most importantly, it's going to allow you to rise above all of the bullshit that's going to be happening, all of the mess, all of the mayhem, all of the trickery, the fuckery. Like, you're going to be able to soar above that. And so Capricorn season is that time to get to work and to do all of that stuff.
I love it. I love it. Yes, a new time, new earth, new era. I share.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah. Mo, what you got for us?
Let me just say that I love Saturn. I love Saturn. That's my motherfucking daddy, okay? It's really clear. I have Saturn in my first house, so I have to. I have to.
Okay.
And it does create delays, and my whole life has been on a delay for Saturn because I have Saturn in Aries in the first house. But the thing that I am most aware of with Saturn, with Capricorn in this, is that Saturn has been in Aquarius for the last 2 years. And so Saturn rules this. Saturn rules Capricorn. It rules this new moon that's coming. And Saturn traditionally rules Aquarius. And so Saturn in Aquarius, it's so I do these math equations inside of me that are like the math of energy. So Saturn is the gatekeeper to the earth realm. It's cause and effect. Like it's about understanding how the energy really works. What you put out is coming back. And it is not biased. It doesn't matter. What you put out is coming back. It's neutral. What you put out is coming back.
It's a law. It's a law. It's not a request. It's literally a law written.
It's literally
the law of Ma'at, when you go to the Kabbalion, it's not like a suggestion. It's a law.
That's right. It is how it is. So this is where we get to work with Capricorn. And the beautiful thing is that with Saturn in Aquarius is our blueprint, is who our soul created us to be. Before we got here, before I got here and heard my daddy be like, white people were da-da-da, and then I got scared and started looking for white people to hurt me. And before I started, believing that Jesus was really the power, it's like we were something before we took on those conditions and started to live into them. And this is the time where we get to uncover, remove those narratives, remove those barriers, remove those belief systems, those patterns that we were born into, I work with people. I'm a coach, and I got a degree, in psychology. Like, I studied this stuff because I really wanted to help people because of the environment that I grew up in. But when I started studying, I realized these motherfuckers don't know what they talking about.
Well, that's why I left college, because I went for the same thing. Me and the professors would butt heads.
Right. They
Know
studying us.
you know
They're
something,
taking,
you know.
yes, they're taking their information from our lived experience. So why do I need to go sit with them to study myself and my people to then create a whole system of what's right and what's wrong? You know what I mean? They take everything, they extract everything from us to then create solutions for the problems that they generate, right? So it's an opportunity for us to remove. It's an opportunity for us to remove our conditioning and come back to the blueprint. And in this new moon at the first degree, which is the degree of innocence, and oh, it's so important for us to access our innocence and to remember that we are innocent. It's hard for us to get this concept, but if you think about it from the perspective of like, when you get here, you don't know what you're doing. No one gives you a template or a to-do book, or not even your parents. Nobody knows. Everybody's just figuring it out. And it just so happens that we were born into a system where they figured out 1,500 years ago how to create a loop to trap everybody. So we've all allowed our innocence, or our innocence has taken us into what we would call danger, or systems that are not for our highest and best. So now is the time for us to set an intention to undo all this stuff and to forgive ourselves. Like, you can't just walk out of it. You have to love yourself out of it. You have to love yourself out of it. You have to be like, you didn't know better. Now you do. It's okay. Take one step backwards. Oh, it's okay. You made a mistake. I know. Take 2 steps forward. But now you're going to, I mean, because it's that kind, it's an ebb and a flow, moving yourself out of the system, because this is all that we know. We have never been under, in this lifetime, in this consciousness, we've never been in a different scenario. So we are undoing one frequency while generating a new one, taking the old materials, the old thoughts, behaviors, beliefs, energetics, transmuting them, because this Capricorn season has Pluto in it. So Pluto is still there transmuting the energy for us if we're willing to be responsible and accountable and honest. And the major thing is integrity. Integrity. Can you walk your talk? So where your walk and your talk are out of alignment, that's the work that you get to do. You know, you believe something and you really believe it, but your life doesn't allow you to be in the experience of it. That's the work right there. And that requires forgiving yourself, allowing your innocence, tapping into your higher self. Like, I don't know, I don't, like, the universe, God inside of you is real, is what I want to say. God inside of you is real and magical. And one of the things, and then I'm gonna shut up, that I've been really working on, because Mercury in Capricorn is about the authority of your own mind. And the thing that's important to know is that there is no authority outside of you. It doesn't exist. It's an illusion. It's an illusion, right? So the authority of your own mind, and getting yourself to believe that your thoughts are fucking creating your reality, because we've been conditioned to believe that it's nothing. Oh, it doesn't matter no, that thought is a real thing. That thought is your thoughts, your feelings, they are real. And so you cannot discount them ever. You can't just throw them away, but you also can't be afraid of them. You also can't be like, shit, I thought no.
That's how it starts, though. Like, when you first
Yeah.
realize that power, you're like, oh, fuck, I just thought this. Oh my, and you get real paranoid, and then you're just like, oh, forget it.
Right. So, but you don't want to forget it, but you want to apply grace to it. You want to ask your higher self. So what I really started doing was engaging my higher self and asking, How can I work with this thought process? How can I transmute? I would ask questions. How do I transmute this thought? I would write them down to myself, and then the answers would come. And now I'm getting to the point where I tell myself constantly, your mind is programming the reality. Your mind is programming the reality. And when I tell myself that, I know that, oh, everything I'm experiencing is born out of my own mind. So that works in a whole lot of ways. But one of the things I'm working on right now is being able to use my melanin to wield the technology. So to talk to the technology and tell it what I want it to do. So that means I have to believe, I have to have confidence. I can't be in doubt and fear and worry. I have to understand that I am the power, that I am generating an energetic power that is the dominant force in my reality. All of this is Mercury and Capricorn. Come into authority in your mind. And as you do it, the reality around you will begin to transform from one way of perceiving and into another. Um, and so that's what this Capricorn season is about for me. That's what I'm teaching in my courses and to my students and practicing. How do we do this? How, practice it, see, send out a thought and see what happens, and how long does it take for the thought to you think it, and how long does it take for it to come back into formation. Form follows thought, so understanding, and then asking for grace so that we can actually really get on board in the belief of it. So that's
Yes,
what.
Capricorn is, related to, if you look on the tree of life, the Kemetic tree of life, the partner to Ru is related to Seker. If you look in the Kabbalah, it's related to Binah. So it's this black and white, good and bad type of energy, but it's very, very powerful. It's related to the soul, really. And there's been a lot of these water-themed movies that's come out lately. The Black Panther, the Avatar, Way of the Water, right? Also, it deals with, to me, a lot of family structures. There's a big movement out here of self-love. There's, the 50-50 talk, the modern woman, the high-value man, right? All these seeds that are being planted out. But businesses, right, which is the things that we really need to look at in 2023, building businesses, building enterprises, they start with family. Like Woolworth was a family. Chase is a family. The Bank of America, the Italians that started, they're a family, right? Jews, right? We say we're the Black Jews, right? Yeah, we're Jews. Yeah, okay, great. We're the real Jews. They work with family. They see each other as family. They dance together, they party together, they eat together. And if someone starts a business, no matter how rinky-dink it is, they all support it, right? They don't talk down on each other. They don't shade each other, so to speak. There's no shade room in the Jewish community. There's no shade room in their community, and I'm not saying that we're going to evolve to that level 100% next year, but circumstances will come to the point, I believe, where, especially with all this Mercury and Capricorn, Venus and Capricorn, based on what I'm seeing, like all this energy that's leading into Capricorn season before Capricorn season even launches next year, it's for a reason. And it's really to get us to focus on what really matters, right? What really matters as far as what you're communicating to yourself. Just like you were saying, Mo, your self-talk. What really matters as far as what you're communicating to your family, right? Are you telling them things that are going to edify them? Are you calling your kids stupid? Are you calling your kids dumb? Are you calling your kids crazy? All these things that we see on a day-to-day basis, right? Are you extra aggressive to your kids, right? Do you take your anger out on your children? Are you extra punitive, right, for things? Do you not remember that you were a child at one point just like them and made mistakes? Do you have grace with your children, right? Or are you treating them like a domineering boss, right? This is all at Saturnian energy, right? It's about family. It's about structure. It's about what are you building? What type of things are you putting together? This is the season where if you only have one job, I don't care if you're making $200,000, $500,000 a year, you need to figure out what's going to be the second thing. What's going to be maybe even the third thing? What options are you putting together to have something going next year where you can make some side money? You don't want to depend on one option. I mean, 2020 should have taught all of us that, right? But as far as a refresher, you don't want to just have one option or one way of making money. Saturn is also about that, right? Coming into the place where we could have cycles and structures where we could bring in currency. You need currency, right? Currency is a form of power, whether people like it or not. A lot of people in the spiritual community, right? They talk bad about money. They talk bad about the material world. But guess what? You can't buy your candles without some money. You can't take your spiritual baths without some money. You can't watch Zodiac Queens and Me on YouTube if you don't pay for your Wi-Fi and your internet service, right? So you need to have some sort of finances coming in, right? And it's ironic that the people that are so anti-money are so pro-reparations, but that's another story for another day. Right? But we really need to come to the space to where we are engaging in our soul. What is our soul's mission? What is our soul's purpose? How does our soul's purpose? Because that's that Seker energy. That's that Binah energy, our soul, that dark matter, the dark mother, right? What are we bringing into Genesis, right? In this spiritual renaissance, what are we contributing? Are we just watching people on YouTube? Are we just watching what other people are doing? But what are we actually putting into the pot? What can we contribute to the collective? What type of actions are we putting into the collective now, right? And it doesn't have to be anything elaborate, right? You could be the best farmer in the world. You could be the best dishwasher, right? Whatever you're passionate about, it doesn't have to be anything big and elaborate the way Western culture teaches us, right? It's what your soul mission is and what you love. There's things that you love that you may not be doing, and we all have to survive. We have our 9 to 5s, whatever. We have our jobs. That's understandable, right? But you want to start looking again during this with these Mercury and Venus, Mercury retrogrades, right? Going into Capricorn season, dealing with the Saturnian energy, right? What gifts are Santa gonna bring down your tree? Your tree is your nervous system, right? So what type of gifts are going to be coming down on that sleigh ride from that reindeer, right? What gifts are you going to be providing not only to yourself but to your family and the global family, you know? So it's very important that we get some sort of discipline and structure in order to manifest these things. And that's my piece on that.
It's
Go ahead.
interesting that you said family, that you touched upon family, because one of the channeled messages I got very recently was about a lot of people are being prepared right now. You know, like I said, we're entering a new generation, and there are a lot of children on the other side that are really hot to get here, right? But a lot of us are not ready, whether it's spiritually, whether it's physically, or whether it's mentally. And so a lot of people are being prepared right now for a change in family structure. Some people are being guided to form a whole new family tree, a whole new ancestry, right? Like a lot of people are starting to wake up to this. And I'm not talking about like soulmate, twin flame type shit. I'm not talking about that. Like I'm talking about like real legacy, real generation. A lot of people are talking about, oh, I'm breaking generational curses, which I hate that phrase, by the way, or generational wealth. Your generational wealth may not be money. Your generational wealth may be your children, maybe your family. And a lot of people are being prepared for that right now. That's why so many people are being urged to get their minds right. So many people are urged to wake up. And people are sort of partnering up with people. People are starting to find their people because there is this new generation that needs to be birthed. But everything gets birthed here first and here first. And so we are being prepared right now for this new generation. And Capricorn season, like I said, is that time where you're planting those seeds and setting that structure for yourself. That structure doesn't have to be on the same timeline or the same format as what you're used to. Many of us are being urged to break out of those molds, but you have to have a structure regardless. And if you're autonomous, it doesn't mean that, oh, I have this power to manifest things, but it's almost like you have a magic wand, but you don't know how to wield it. You don't know how to do things. You don't know how to control your magic. Like Capricorn season gets you in control, right? But it could be on a very personal level, right? But it's all about setting the structure for yourself. So many of us are having to do that work now. And Capricorn season is work. Like Mo was saying, like you have to physically do the work. And I love that in your class, you're actually having people like practice the manifestation, right? Because that's what you have to do. It's not just enough to say, I have the power. It's like, okay, so what are you going to do with it? And now that you know what to do with it, what are you going to continue to do with it? How are you going to structure yourself? How are you going to build this world? Because we all have the power to build our own worlds, but you have to have some sort of discipline. You have to have some sort of format or blueprint to do it. And Capricorn season is the time when you figure that out.
I say.
Man, definitely powerful.
I'll say one more thing about Capricorn season that Capricorn is in our work with every season. Every season has an impact on our body, and Capricorn rules our skeleton and our teeth and our hair and our nails. And when I said that, I'm looking here at male and I'm like, but it's for all, it's not just for women. It ruins the teeth, the hair, and the skeleton. because all of a sudden I was like, oh, right, the women, because those women were like our nails and our hair. But Capricorn, it's important for us to practice health practices for these aspects and how they impact our bodies, right? So some people have they've broken bones, or they have teeth problems, or they have lower back problems. That's Capricorn. Some people have sciatica nerve issues, that nerve that runs, that's Sagittarius. And our Western system doesn't understand how astrology really impacts the body, but the body is very much a part of this conversation that we're having as well. Medical astrology is extraordinarily powerful and helps us heal in ways that are not in alignment with the Western medicine system. But it's important for us to learn to talk to our bodies. It's important to understand how we need to take care of ourselves so that these systems are strong inside of us and externally as well. That's all.
Agreed.
Definitely. Another deity that's the synchronicity of the Saturn season is Kali Ma, with her having all the severed heads, right? Different aspects of the ego, right? Different aspects of who you thought you were, who you need to be. Health, as you were saying, Mo, definitely factors into that. Like this is a vehicle, right? I always say you got a Ferrari, right? And you're putting regular gas in that Ferrari, right? Or you're driving it around the projects, right? You never you're driving around the projects, right? You got a Ferrari, but that's the only place it goes, in the hood. You never take it any place else. You never go to Monaco. You never take driving your Ferrari around the hood.
You need your friends to see it.
That's really what people do, right? You have to fuel this vehicle with proper fuel, with sunlight, which is what the vegetables, I try. This is a touchy subject because people have, these emotional eating issues, right? And a lot of times people overlook that. People don't like to talk about that, but people eat their emotions. People eat to be happy. People eat sugar, one molecule away from crack. A lot of people are substituting sugar for relationships. They're substituting sugar for happiness. They're substituting sugar for being close to other people. That is how they feel close to other people. And it's an insidious addiction that people really don't talk about, right? People really don't talk about why they're craving going to these chickens. Not only is the food engineered, right? GMO engineered for you for a certain taste, for you to have certain things, but you want to address one of the things you want to look at, like how many bowel movements, you're not having a bowel movement every day. Like you really want to, that's one of the things, Mercury, you want to really look at that. Like, what am I eating? What am I putting in my body? Am I using the food to feel good? What am I, why do I feel like I have to eat these certain things at this time? Like really sincere, honest self-examination. Don't play yourself. Don't play yourself. You could play the world. You could put a mask on for the world, but at the end of the day, it's going to be you waking up and looking at the mirror. And it's going to be you before you go to bed. It's going to be you when you wake up. You could go out in the world and fool everybody. You could wear all the clothes. You could dress with all the crystals, right? You could put the dashikis on. All that stuff is great. There's a lot of people that can't even come on YouTube without smoking. You know what I'm saying? I'm not judging, but what I am saying, that is still a mask. There's got to be some point where you come to these mediums and you come to these mediums as yourself, as who you really are, as your true essence, and being able to speak with confidence about who and what and where you truly are as far as existing in your God body, existing in your God presence, so that you could master and develop and raise up to these higher frequencies so you could get these true spiritual powers, so your 5 senses could be enhanced and you get add on to these other 2 senses, right? That supreme omnipotence and that supreme intuition, right? Those are the things that you want to be. You want to be able to feel. You know how great it feels when you could feel other people's energy, when you could feel before someone comes how they're gonna come, when you could feel when somebody's scheming and nobody else could see it, but you could see it. Both my daughter's mothers would tell you, even before I was super, super woke, right? Even before I was super, super in the studies, they will tell you, like, yo, this guy's no good. Yo, this girl, she ain't really your friend. And then it plays out, you know what I'm saying? But these things I've been working on since 1997. This isn't something that just occurred on one day and I'm half-assed, you know what I'm saying? I'm very vulnerable with y'all, you know what I'm saying? I've half-assed for a great amount of time in the spiritual path. But the more I tap into it, the more I am sincere, the greater the gifts, the greater the benefits. I don't worry about money. I travel half the year. I don't put it on Instagram. I don't put it on Facebook because it ain't nobody's business. And I don't want nobody come and rob me. But I'm trying to go to the, I don't have issues. You know what I'm saying? If I want to go someplace and meet somebody, I can meet them. I want to meet a girl I see, I'll go meet her. You know what I'm saying? It's not an issue. These are the things that my job.
I hear that, ladies. He said if he can go, he can talk to you.
2022, I'm good. But I'm good. I appreciate it. But
He said, come through. She said, I don't know. Great goodness, I said, come through.
That was the first half of the year. Second half, I was like, you gotta relax, bro. You gotta relax. You gotta relax. You know what I'm saying?
That's all right. Oh, God.
Even that's a process for the fellas. No, seriously, but I'm glad these came up because even that was a process for me. I had to go back and reflect and say, yo, what am I doing? Like, I'm going here, I'm going there. Like, what am I really doing? Am I really moving into something serious? Am I really in something that makes sense?
Right.
I was celibate for the first time in years, most of this summer.
Yeah.
For quite some time. I said, I'm gonna shut it down. And that's probably the best thing that I've done in my life.
Isn't it amazing?
For real. The best thing I've done in my life. Because as a man, you cannot continue to just waste and spill the seed and continue to just be living with these women, and they not giving you when you put your plug in the socket, fellas. You got to be getting that real power out. You know what I'm saying? You got to get real power from that socket, and if you're not getting real power from that socket, guess what? You're getting drained.
That's right. You are wasting it. This is such a powerful conversation because one of the things that I had to really, when I started fully committing into my spiritual journey, I had to take myself to the mat as a woman and how I interacted with men and what I was really up to. And I had to really look at my belief systems, like how I was taught that I need a man to survive the world. Like I really believed that I wasn't safe in the world if I didn't have a man. But how did that idea impact my behavior? So I used to really oppress my genius because I didn't want a man to think I was too smart or like, oh, she's so this and she's inaccessible. So I wouldn't fully be myself because I didn't want a man to think I was being too much or more than he could, right? And so I had to really get clear, like, these are your God-given gifts. I remember the first time I told a man that I was an astrologer. And that relationship ended really quickly.
Oh my gosh, I have the same story. And it happened to me fairly recently. And that shit like broke my heart. He was like, you worship the sun? Like, what are you talking about? I was like, what?
Whoa, no, I'm sorry.
Right. I mean, but I had to decide if I was
damage.
or if I was going to play small so that I could have a man, and a man that didn't get me, a man that didn't really honor the truth of who I am. And what I've realized is the more I honor myself and I'm in integrity with who I really am, and I speak up about it and I don't hide it, I begin to bring men into my life, whether romantic or not, who actually get it, who actually get it. A friend of mine the other day texted me like, the spirit guides told me to tell you this and this and that. And I was like, hallelujah, thank God I finally have men in my life who resonate at the level that I fucking care about. Like, that's some real shit. That's real for me, right? Like meeting me at the level, but in your own power, right? Like not needing me to come out of my power, but you saying you're in your power and helping me enhance mine. And that is a gift, but I had to be devoted. I had to be in integrity with who I am. And Mel, so I want to say to you, he wasn't for you. If he
I
In
know.
the words of the great poet Tony Braxton, he wasn't man enough for you.
I mean, he was hardcore like Protestant, and that was something that I grew up Catholic, and so I didn't even know much about Protestantism, but he was just like he was appalled at the whole astrology thing. He was like, "Oh, it's cute, but you worship the sun, you're going to hell." I was like, "Whoa." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you
They're the
need
most
to
they're the
you need
most
to get on.
judgmental
You have
Christians.
your own journey to get on, and I don't need to go on that journey with you."
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
That's right.
And that's why they went then well, but that's why the Christians and Muslims get into crusades, because it's all about like who has the better God. It's very egotistical
Mhm.
it's very, very egotistical, these
And
religions, these Abrahamic
judgmental.
religions. Yeah. It's all about who's right and you're wrong, who's going to hell, who's not going to hell. Even Jehovah's Witnesses, as I grew up, who's going to
Yeah.
be part of the 144,000? Of course, most of them are white people in Jehovah's Witnesses, but who's going to be part of the whole 144,000? Who's not? Who's going to be here? Who can eat when they pass the Eucharist, the glass of wine, red wine, and the bread? Who can eat it? Who can't eat it? If you take a bite, I remember when I was popping out. When I was popping out Joe Witness, I ate that shit and drank the wine. Boy, all the people looked at me like I was Satan, like I was the devil. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Because you have to, and that's another thing. You have to Kali Ma's courageous energy, that Saturn energy. You have to be able to step into your power coming into the new year. You have to be able to exist and be who you want to be, regardless of what people are going to say about you, regardless of what people think about you, regardless of people's opinion. Because as they say, just to use a metaphor, they judge Jesus and he ain't hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? They will judge anybody. They talk about children online. Like I seen something, they was talking about Jay-Z's child like a dog. They were talking about Blue Ivy like a dog in one of these YouTube videos. I'm like, man, imagine if somebody talked about your child like that. Just
Yeah.
because they're a celebrity doesn't mean that that's right for you to just go in and talk about, people's children in such a demeaning way, how they're spoiled and how you know. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You only know what you see on TV. You don't really know, and it gets clicks and likes. People do whatever is for clicks and likes to get money nowadays. But again, like Monique said, what type of integrity do you have? You can't take that bread with you. That's
Mhm.
one thing. You cannot look at Kevin Samuels. He was tearing up the internet, tearing up women, but he didn't take none of that high value shit that he take to the grave with him. Not
He
a cent.
dropped dead. He dropped dead fucking with the
In
feminists.
fact, YouTube probably is
I mean, I
making
don't
more
mean to laugh about that. It's
content now.
not funny, but yeah. Like and
You know,
Big Mama is coming to collect. Like if you are not in alignment right now, like I feel sorry for some people. Like anyone trying to suppress that divine feminine energy, it's not going to end well for you, especially where we're going. And I
Right.
feel like
yeah, you
people, I
cannot
mean,
play. You cannot play with
but I
the
do
feminine.
feel like everything leads to where you need to go, right? Whether it's good or bad, as long as you're open to learning the lessons. And Kevin Samuel, he had a place, right?
He
He
totally
had a
did.
place. He had at least opened the door to certain
What a purpose.
conversations that people were not
He
willing to
did.
have,
That's
or
right.
or shedding light on the fact that some people have very archaic and very patriarchal views of relationships and being a woman and all of these things. So it served a purpose, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But you know, again, I feel like people who are downplaying or trying to suppress that divine feminine energy, it ain't the move. Definitely not right now.
Like, is she gonna find her way? Like, you can't run from this stuff. One of the things that I was watching this movie, I like to study scientists like Einstein and Edison, like, because they studied the cosmos. And Einstein, when he created not when he created it, but when he discovered the law of relativity, what brought him to this experience was the orbit of Mercury was off. Like, all the planets orbited at the same sort of rate, but Mercury did something different. And Mercury rules our thoughts. And Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. And when he studied this orbit, he realized that space has shapes, and the shapes are based upon your relationship to the sun. You create a shape based upon your relationship to the sun. So basically, he's studying the cosmology, which is the shape of God, basically, because it's out there. But we are a part of that. And it's important for us to know that we also have a shape. and we can't see it. We think we're just these bodies, but these bodies are the least of who we are. We are a spiritual system that is ruled by our minds and our feelings, and the thing to do is to be able to get those things going in the same direction. That's why
we're technology. We're
say it
spiritual.
again.
We're technology. Literally.
Yes, exactly. And so to relate to every planet, learn to relate to every planet. You can relate to it generally, like the days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, all these sort of, or you can relate to it specifically in your chart to understand how it best functions so that you can send your signal to the universe in agreement and acceptance of who you are. And then the universe will begin to work through you. It's like allowing yourself to be animated, like really allowing the flow to happen. I've been seeing videos lately about outgrowing your astrology, right? Like that you're not only subject to you, but you have to evolve through it. It's not something that you just get to be like, I'm done with that shit. No. It's not how it works.
That's like being done with nature, being done with summer, winter, fall, right?
Right.
You can't do that.
You cannot. But the more you can,
but you're gonna wreck yourself.
Right. I feel like we've seen that's what white supremacy is and capitalism. It's the opposite of nature. But the more that we really study ourselves and learn how we function, learn the aspects of your chart. Like, we have tons of aspects in our charts. Learn how they function, what they do, because that tells the universe, like the universe is listening to you. The creator knows the taste on your fucking tongue. Okay. That's who knows the taste on your tongue. So when you behave that way, your needs get met without you fucking doing nothing. The least effort is the best way to meet your needs. But you have to get to the place where you're willing to function, capable of functioning with the least effort and in flow. You have to train yourself into that. And that's the beautiful thing about this time right now, is that we get to come out of an old way of being and into a new ways. And I love it.
It's so exciting. But it's also not scary in a sense, but we've been so hardcore conditioned against that. Just even the word flow, I know for me, sometimes it evokes this feeling of like anxiety, because it's like, I kind of just have to let go and surrender. Like I really like follow, and your natal chart is absolutely beautiful. And it's one of those things that you keep learning, it's like a bottomless pit of knowledge of yourself.
Yes.
And once you get into that, like you said, Monique, like it's you learn all about yourself, and you align yourself to the creator, and you learn of the creator within you.
Yes.
It makes the world so much easier. And I'm like, why didn't I know that? Well, everything happens in its own time, right?
That's right. Yeah.
When you're ready, that's when things appear. But it's like the cheat code to life, like real talk.
That's right.
And I love that people are waking up to that. I love that people are saying no more of being subjugated to being under somebody's thumb, to doing
Yes.
things that are counterproductive. Like just religion in and of itself, it teaches you to look everywhere but where is important.
I
It gets
know.
you distracted on bullshit. Like, oh, just like you said before, Rob, oh, well, they don't believe in Jesus, so they're not going to heaven. First of all, you don't even know what heaven is.
You don't know what
Second of
happened.
all roads lead to where you need to go, just in different ways. You think that God literally said, if you don't follow my son, this white guy, that you're not you're going to be destined to hellfire and brimstone? Of course not, right? But religion is like, I can't let you guys know who you are, because if you do, you're not going to need me anymore.
You are
I'm going to
not.
be obsolete. I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do. They're all like, here, look at this here. Meanwhile, they're doing all the fuck shit over here. Like, they want you to still look at the shiny shit, the shit that doesn't matter, so that you look everywhere but where is important. And we're in such an exciting time where not everyone, but a lot of people are starting to look where it's important.
Yes.
And when we do that as a collective,
Yes. It's over.
completely different worlds.
It's over. I mean, there's absolutely no power they can have when we begin to do this
Exactly.
as
Yeah.
Black people. It's the most exciting thing ever. And then I want, my intention is that people, for myself and others, that you realize that we have dominant power over this reality. So as we are really clear that a new era is coming and an old one is coming undone, you know, I think it's important for us to prepare for the best in our consciousness, right? Rather than because we're creating the reality. We are the generators of the reality. Black melanated people in America are the generators of the totality of reality. So it's important for us not to believe what they say, not to believe it in the fact that, like, oh, that's their reality, that's not my reality, because everybody has their own reality. As I've studied history, one of the things that I've learned, there were the people who were experiencing the wars and dying, but then there were people who were thriving and right. And so just you get where you're going to be. There were people who were in scarcity, and then there were people up the street who were fine. You wouldn't even, like a tornado comes and blows everybody's house down on the street, but two houses that keeps what are you going to be, the house that's still standing, or are you going to be the house that blows down? It's really your choice. It's where you're putting your attention. Where are you putting your attention? If you're putting your attention in, it's the end of the motherfucking world, then that's what you're going to experience. If you're putting your attention in, it's the beginning of a new world, then that's what you're going to experience.
Yeah, whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you focus on grows. So I remember, it's funny, I was having this conversation with a member of my family, and they were going through something. They're going through things at work, and I'm like, sometimes things have to fall apart, in order for new things to build back up. There's a scripture in the Bible that says you can't put old wine into new wineskins, because those wineskins are going to burst, right? So you won't have any wine. So a lot of times when you are on this type of path and you're learning this type of knowledge, and you are studying and you're being sincere about making changes, sometimes things happen. Things happen at work, things happen in relationships, things happen with friends, things happen with family, right? Sometimes things happen with housing, right? Things fall apart. Doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. It doesn't mean that it's over. It doesn't mean that you should be disillusioned and start being, negative and non-optimistic. You want to at those times are tests. Are you really sincere about your growth? Is this something that you're really ready for? Because at the end of the day, these challenges are designed to give you spiritual power. Like everything you've overcome in life, you've gotten wiser, you've gotten smarter, you've gotten stronger as you've overcome, right? If you've truly overcome, and if you've truly done those shadow work, around different issues and things like that. But if you've truly done the work, then you will receive gifts of spiritual power. You will receive gifts of ascension. You will start to receive, somebody put in the comments, but you'll receive like synchronicities and things like that. You'll start to see things like last night with the spiders. Like I ain't never seen no spiders in my house. You know what I'm saying? I'm uploaded a video about venom and then spiders are coming, then and
Mhm.
there's other things I won't put here.
That's your subconscious. That's your
Yeah.
subconscious. That's how powerful you
I
are.
went to the gym today, and it's trickster energy. So
Mhm.
I listen to my inner voice. Shout out to you, Mo. You told me that last year. So I listen
Mhm.
to my inner voice, but it's been become very stronger, very much stronger during this season, right? And it's been on point with a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the scratch offs. But it's been very, very, very strong. So I've been listening, right, to this inner voice. And today it was like, I was going to get something to eat, right? And I'm lactose intolerant, but the voice was like heavy. Go get pizza, go get pizza, go get pizza. And I was going to another store just to get like some candy, like fuel myself before the workout. Let's get some chocolate, dark chocolate. And I'm like, why am I going to get a fucking pizza? And it's like, that's fuel. That's fuel. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, fuck it. Let me go get this pizza, right? So I go across the street, which is out the way, go to get this pizza. So as soon as I get there, it's like, don't go to this fucking pizza shop. Go to the store right there. They're gonna have the candy you like. Now I love Mr. Good Boss. That's my favorite candy. So as soon as I go to the next store, Mr. Good Boss is right there, only for $1. Now candy bars is like $1.50. So if I went to the other store, not 9 out of 10, they wouldn't have my Mr. Good Bar. I'd have to settle for something, and it wouldn't have been $1. You know. So I
Mhm.
scooped up like 4 of them, and I kept it moving. But this is just the way the unit, that's a little thing, but it's the way the universe works, and you really got to trust your inner voice. Like that's the voice of God. That's the
Yeah.
voice of the divine. The
Yeah.
voice that talks without words, right? They talk about the tetragrammaton, right, being a voice that does that a word that is unspoken, right? That tetragrammaton is you. That's the 4 elements that exist within you: the fire, water, air, earth, and fire, water, air, earth elements, right? But you are the conductor. You're the sole controller via your frontal lobe what decisions you're going to make, what decisions you're not going to make in life. So all these things that are happening in the cosmos are really guides, are really prompts, right? For those who have the eyes to see these prompts, those who have the wisdom. I was talking to Mike Bell, frequent collaborator with me on the channel, and I was talking about Hanukkah, and Hanukkah is related to Enoch, right? Long story. I don't want to talk too long about it. But Hanukkah is related to Enoch, and Enoch is one of the books in the Bible that they extracted from, right? Because there's a
Mhm.
lot of wisdom in there, right? And I was like, man, nobody even talks about this. And he was like, of course not. Like people aren't looking into this stuff. Like people aren't, people aren't diving deep into this stuff. They're just taking things on face value. So they're not gonna look. But he was like, the secret societies. Sorry about that. He's like, the secret societies, they have to let you know. They have to, and a lot of these movies, they let you know what's gonna happen ahead of time. They
Mhm.
put it out there so you could see what's gonna happen. Now, whether you are able to see the signs and symbols, that's up to you, right? That's up to you, your research, your level of depth. And you don't even have to do all this super research. Some people, especially women, just have it naturally. They just have that sixth sense, if they're in tune with it, to
Mhm.
see the BS before it happens, or to be in tune with then we got to do a lot more work to tap into the spirit, because we're usually focused on the externals, getting money, getting women, getting material things provided for the family. But women are usually focused on the inner world, right? The womb world. So for us, it's a little bit more work, but that's why we built for that. You know what I'm saying? We built for the work to get there.
Mhm.
So um I just think this is, like you guys were saying, this is an excellent time to be alive. This is an excellent time to be moving forward. I want to close off. I had some things, but I don't want us to be here too long. Um during this time, I want to talk about 2 things. I want to talk about Capricorn. How do you guys, the geniuses that you are, the degrees, how do they factor in? I know Capricorn is going to be like at this 1 degree point.
Mhm.
I think the sun and the moon are at this 1 degree point. How do you guys factor that in? How does that factor in, and how do you guys find that? Is there a book or something where you could find out how to calculate, or how to come to a website or something like that? I'm asking for me at this point too.
Every degree carries an energy, and so you can either look at the numerology of that number degree, or there is a sector of astrology that's degree based, so each degree represents a different sign.
Mhm.
So the number 1 would be Aries, right? So that gives you that energy of new beginnings. of starting, of a new cycle. And you look at the numerology of number one, it represents also new beginnings, but it also was associated with the sun and the sign of Leo. So when looking at an astrological event that's happening at a particular degree, you can factor those things in to get deeper knowledge of what that astrological event is going to be about, if that makes sense.
It does. It does.
I also use a book called The Hidden Garment, I believe it's called. And it goes through it goes from 0 to 30 for every degree, and it gives every degree an energy that is that I usually work with. So like 1 is innocence, 2 is purity, 3 is memory, and so wherever those degrees are in my own chart, like for instance, I have a Virgo sun at the 20th degree, and the 20th degree is the degree of gratitude. So
Me too.
are you the 20th degree Virgo?
Yeah.
Are you
September 13th.
Oh wow, that is so cool. That's like, because I'm older than you, so it goes back. So I know that because my sun is at the 20th degree of Virgo, that gratitude is an energy that really moves my personality, that it opens me up, and it really does. If I can be grateful for something, especially if I can be grateful for hard things, they shift and they give me gifts. If I'm like, oh, thank you that such and such broke up with me exactly when I remember this I was having this birthday party, and I was seeing this man, and we was a new relationship, and I was like, I'm having this big birthday party. You might not really want to come because it's going to be a big deal, and I don't want you to feel the pressure of like needing to be my man at my birthday, because that's not what was really going on with us. And he was like, no, I want to come. And I was like, okay, cool. The day of my birthday, he was like, I can't come. I was like, I'm gonna fuck you up. Like, like, motherfucker, I gave you a chance. I said, I told you. But I had 100 people coming. I had to get it together. I couldn't let that throw me off. So I had to find a way to get grateful for it. I had to really go deep into myself and know that that was exactly what I need, and had the most incredible time. And the very next day he was like, I'm sorry. I was like, yeah, fuck you. But it's the degrees really give me the energy of how to really work with that placement, whether it's a transit that's happening or whether it's something that's going on in my own life.
And just like Marjorie just said, yeah, in the comments, yeah, the Sabian symbols, it's very similar to what you just described, Mo. So every degree has a different sort of archetype. So actually, the first degree, every degree in every sign. So actually, the first degree of Capricorn is called 3 stained glass windows in a Gothic church, 1 damaged by war. So it gives a story for each degree and sort of gives you an archetype of the energy. I also use those as well when I talk about the new and the full moons on my channel. But yes, I forgot to mention that. So yeah, every degree carries a certain energy to it, whichever way you arrive at that sort of information. But it goes much deeper than just saying, okay, it's at the first degree. Like the first degree means something.
And Mel, you got a special on your charts this month too, right? On your astrological charts?
Yeah. So a natal chart reports and progress natal chart reports are $60 until January 15th.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'll be scooping by.
I know, right?
I'll definitely be scooping by. I want to go ahead.
Somebody was asking, what's the 14th degree of Aquarius? The 14th degree in the work that I do is the degree of ecstasy. And ecstasy is an energy of like all things coming together. And, we have moments of ecstasy. It's not something that is sustainable, generally, but the more we reckon with our ego, the more we can live in a sustained experience of ecstasy, like being in full acceptance of what is. And how do I access ecstasy? Like, I remind myself constantly that God is absolutely all that there is. There is no force outside of the force of God. So that whatever is happening, it is a generative, it is something that is generated by the creators. Yes. Whatever it is, if it's Hitler, if it's Trump, if it's all and so in that I'm not resisting what is being experienced, and in not resisting it, I can open up to an experience of ecstasy or pleasure around it. This is also tantra work is like lean into it, don't run away from it, like lean into the pain. If it's uncomfortable, well, why is this uncomfortable? Don't run away from it, don't back away, don't like be with it. And when we can be with things as they are, ecstasy is the experience that comes.
I want to
Mo,
hop
what
on
was the name of that book?
The one
it.
oh.
Let me put it.
That's so weird. That is so hilarious. It's like a spirit just did that.
Tell the truth, Mo. Show that. No, I want to talk about ecstasy, in a Scorpio type of way.
Oh, that's very
Yeah, there's a lot. Closest you're gonna get to heaven is an orgasm with your partner, right? That's where you're gonna feel heaven, when you and your partner orgasm at the same time. But that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is this: a lot of people, right? I do a lot of readings for women mostly. And a lot of women are scared to show their sexual side. They're scared to express their sexual side. They're scared to put it out there, so to speak. They want to be very conservative and very, I can't, do this and do that. That's a side of you that is connected to spirit. That's connected to your sacral chakra. And that's the chakra right over the root. You cannot climb and ascend or open your pineal or have a kundalini awakening until you handle your sensual needs. That's tied into your creativity as well. Like music, that's why people dance and they nod their head and tap. Those are sensual movement, right? That rhythmic movement, your inner snake, right? Controlling that reptilian energy and using it not to scheme, right? Not to manipulate, because the opposite of that, when you're not not tuned into that energy and not expressing that energy, is you start to become a schemer. You start to become a crook. You start to become snake-like because you're not expressing who you truly are. It's just like the people in the Vatican, right? There's all these, sexual proclivities because they have this vow of virginity, right? But you can't live like that. It's impossible for you to be a man waking up erect all this time and not one who express that, right, in the physical world. So they do it through perversion, right? They do it through scheming, right? They take the kids from the parents and, XYZ happens because you can't be straight up. You can't be direct with your central energy. You can't be direct with your creativity. So it's important to find a vessel, even if it's, open. If you're really, really like, there's some people that are really, really in there like Het Heru, Oshun, Lilith energy, right? If you got to open up another Instagram page or whatever and should put a mask on or whatever just to express it, get it out. Yeah, get it out. You know what I'm saying? Make it something that you could, or get your partner. You know what I'm saying? Make sure your partner is comfortable with you expressing your sexual desires. Like, you're here, enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Have fun. Don't be one of them people who following people on social media. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, we can't do that. Oh, we can't. Like, live, enjoy enjoy your sexual life for real. Don't be one of them stiff people that you come in and you annoying everybody else because you not, you know what I'm saying? You're throwing everybody's side because you're not having pleasure. You know what I'm saying? If you are, of course, waiting for the right partner, that's different. But you still want to be able to explore your sexual side. You should know your body. You're a woman. You should know your vagina. You should know what makes you tick. You should know what doesn't make you tick. You should be brave enough to tell your partner what makes you tick and what doesn't make you tick. Right? You shouldn't be in intercourse with somebody that you're not enjoying. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. For whatever financial reason, for whatever stability reason, life is short. like at least this life that you're in. You're not going to remember when you reincarnate what this was. So while you're here, you might as well. And tantric energy, right, is what really enlivens the soul. It's really what enlivens the spirit.
Yeah.
It's how we all got here. We got here through a tantric practice. This is how the soul is created. So if you really want to create new souls or have solar power, you want to be able to use this energy for your creative means. So don't neglect it. Don't reject it. Express it. This is one of the things that we're going to have to look at in 2023 as well. It's going to be a big push for that because it's needed, and people need to heal that energy specifically so they could get to that solar plexus chakra, so they could direct themselves, so they could lead themselves, so they could get these new ideas that connect with people through the heart chakra. But if that sacral is blocked, if you're not channeling that through the endocrine system, that secretion or that secret energy, that secretion energy, and it's not rotating, right, in a circular basis, you're not. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how many mushrooms you do. I don't care how many plant medicines, how many retreats you go on. You're still going to be stuck because you can't book learn this. Truth is to be lived. To know truth is to live truth. It's the only way. You can't read it. You can't YouTube it. You can't research it. You got to live it. And that's my piece.
So true. It's such an interesting thing with women and our sexuality, because our sexuality is connected to the creative force of the universe. It's connected to God. And we, like, everyone individually has to discover how they should use that energy. There is no right or wrong way except to be in integrity with your own system and how it works. And the more we can accept that, then the more we can free ourselves. And because we really need free women. We need women who are free, who are creating their own narratives and their own realities and living according to what they truly desire, and not allowing not allowing religion, not allowing men, patriarchal ideas, the government, the doctors, not allowing anyone to tell you how that should be. It is a personal thing that you get to really cultivate, and it is important that you do. It really is. So thank you for that, Rob. It's very.
What do you guys think about this comment? Creative energy must be guarded for spiritual growth. What do you guys think as women? What is your opinion on that?
I think there are cycles for everything, right? And I think at certain times that is true. Just like, you have your phone, right? If you're using it all the time and you don't eventually plug in to charge it, you're going to deplete your energy, right? So it's kind of like the same thing. But I do think there's a time for you to release that sexual energy in a way that only you can, in order to create your reality, to give birth to new things, whether it's people, whether it's projects or whatever. So I think there are cycles. I think there's times where you sort of have to store up your energy. And I do think at times it is guarded for spiritual growth, but then I think there's times where you have to actively use it as well.
I agree with that. I don't have anything else to add to that.
Yeah. Stop dumbing down yourself for men. We ain't worth it. There's a lot of us. Look, I'm a man. There's a lot of us that are trash. I'm not saying all of us, right? I'm definitely not. Saying all of us. There's a lot of great men out here.
Yeah.
The majority that a lot of women are looking for or that are chasing, they're trash. You know what I'm saying? They're trash. They don't honor and respect your true essence.
Mm-hmm.
In the spiritual path, most are not going to respect that. They're not going to respect that path, and that is essential. You're essential to bond with people, with men, or whatever, people of the opposite sex that respect your spiritual path, because that is your true essence. Mm-hmm. That is your true soul's mission. If you are listening to something like this is your mission. You need a partner that understands your mission. Why be with somebody just because they look good and you could take pictures with them on Facebook and Instagram, but they don't respect your mission? Yeah, you're going to get the likes, but do they really like you?
Right.
And do you really like them? Because you're not evenly yoked at all. So respect your soul's mission. And that's respecting yourself as well. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's why I took a break. I'm like, look, Look, you gotta have an altar. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have an altar.
You gotta have an altar. I love it.
Cards, man. We ain't just going. Look, we ain't doing the average in 2023. We're not doing just the good looks. Been there, done that, all shapes. It's time to move on. You know what I'm saying? And it's growth time. And if you're gonna be with a partner, the partner has to be someone that is going to be able to understand you. And especially men, you want to be able to put your seed in someone that's going to give birth to your dreams. And that's only going to be a divine feminine. You know what I'm saying? Not a regular degular. You know what I'm saying? Not an Instagram thotty. You know what I'm saying? Not somebody on OnlyFans. Not somebody that you paying to sleep with you. You got to be with somebody that is going to impact your soul, impact and allow your spirit to rise. And that's
who she is, because that is how she functions, right? She's not just doing it for you. She's doing it
that part.
because she functions that way.
That part, because you have a lot of people out here like, yes, I'm a goddess, I do this.
Right.
They ain't about that life.
They ain't about that life when it comes down to it.
That's
right. Ain't about that life. I've been through them too.
There's an integrity to it, and it's I just encourage women to pray in your higher self for the masculine that's going to match you, because as women, it's important for us to know that we create the masculine. Every man on this planet came from a mother's womb. That's why he's trying to get back in there, because that is where he feels the safest. He's not trying to get back into his mother. He's trying to get back into somebody that is similar to his mother, because that is his sense of safety. So it is important to know that that is how much power we have. Men are subject to their sexuality. They are subject to it. I was at a park and I watched these dogs. It was a boy dog and a girl dog, and the boy dog wasn't fixed, and he could not get his nose out of that girl dog's butt. He couldn't help himself. It was not possible. Like, I was watching, I was like, let me see what's going on here. He could not get his nose out of her butt, no matter what was going on. He was subject to it. So with that, it's important for us to understand that is how much power we have. They are subject, they have external body parts. It's an external, they almost don't have any control over it unless they learn to control it. So based upon that, somebody has to have control. Somebody has to have some direction. Somebody has to say, this is what we're up to. And you do that with prayer and supplicating yourself and your spiritual baths, and understanding that your sexuality is a language to the universe. It's not just about what you getting and what he think and what you look like and big titties and ass, and well, that stuff is a part of it, but it's not all of it. It's a language. You're communicating a frequency to the universe, and you have to embody that frequency first, because the feminine creates the masculine. And when a man comes to you, he is your creation. He was born out of your mind. Your mind sent a signal to the universe, and he's there because you called him to you. So don't worship your creations. Don't worship them. Don't. You get it though? If you're the creator and you can create over and over and over and over and over again, where that one came from, another one can come, then don't worship it, but understand the power that you have to generate a reality that is in alignment with the heaven that is within you.
Yes. Absolutely.
You're muted, Rob.
Yeah, I was just saying that you know, in this community, there's a lot of, people that come in and first thing they want to do is bind a man, especially, I got to say, it's mostly women that want to do this. And it's like, that's poverty consciousness. It really is. It's poverty consciousness on the highest level. You feel like you can't get another person that's better than this person. Men don't think like that. For the most part, we don't think like that. If one is gone, we think another better one is around the corner. Most of us think another one is, and that's not great either, but it just shows the difference between men and women, like, but that's a power. It's really, and women cannot afford to have a poverty consciousness because they are the holders of the family unit. They're the ones that make sure the families are straight. They're the ones with the women. You really can't afford to have a lack consciousness, to think that you can't get more, you can't have enough, that you are not enough, that there's not better out there. There's 20 trillion billion types better out there. You know how many
Yes.
people on this planet from
Yes.
all states, cultures, walks of life? So we got to start limiting ourselves to stop thinking that, there's only going to be one person for us or this person for us. You don't know where life is going to take you, what
Yes.
direction, you know. You just want to make sure that you have a person, if you are committed or whatever, you have a person or people, whatever you decide to do, that are in your corner, that encourage you, that are there to enlighten you and have your back for whatever time that is, because we don't own anybody. Real talk. Nobody owns anybody. No chains. I don't care if you're married. No chains buying anybody.
That's
We
true.
all grow. We all evolve. We all take different steps. So you really got to allow people to be themselves, allow people to grow. And sometimes people grow apart, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's part of having empathy, and that's love. That's real love. Like,
Yes.
people don't talk about that, but that's really love, to know that, look, this person's growing in this direction. I got to encourage them to grow in that direction. And I might not be able to go. And that's okay too.
Ain't that love? That is power. That is maturity. That is love. Oh, I love that. I'm so happy I heard a Black man say that.
I learned it from watching you guys.
Thank
I
you.
study under the greats. All right, let's close this out. So we almost at the 2-hour mark. This is a great build. I love building with y'all. We probably could go another hour. Let's talk about this winter solstice, these important 4 or 5 days when our Christmas tree is lit, right? Nervous system is on fire. The pineal gland is spitting out that dopamine, that oxytocin, that melatonin at a high level. The darkest days of the year, right? We're people. We got treasures in our darkness. Talk to us, the family, about what we should be doing, what type of practices. I know you have a class, Mo. I know you have your things, Mel. I don't want you to release all your IP, your intellectual property, but the things, the game you can sprinkle on us, sprinkle some game on us on how, we could survive this time or use this time, I should say, to thrive for 2023 and beyond.
You can go ahead, Mo.
Thanks, Mel. I just think it's amazing that Mel and I almost have the same, like our birthdays like that. It's so dope. I love it. Okay. So the solstice is the return of the light. Like, one of the things that's really fascinating to me is how we live in a system that is so tricky, right? Like, America is very negotiator. It has changed all the rules to trick us. But how the solstice energy is the resurrection. It's the return of the light, where the April energy is the birth. It's the birth of the light, and this is the return. Is the whatever, but this is the return, and so we have this opportunity to realign ourselves to our own Christic consciousness, and so one of the things that I'm going to do, I'm going to fast. So today is the 18th. I'll start my fast tomorrow on Monday. I'm so happy I said it out loud so I can get myself together. So I'll fast tomorrow, juice fast tomorrow, and for 3 days, because it's really a 3-day experience. And that's really it. I just honor the energies by resting. I sleep. I drink a lot of juices. I take it easy because it's winter, and winter is where we hibernate and where we come back to gain our power, to regain our power. So it's important for us to rest. And the world is really busy right now, but now is not the time to be busy.
It's like everything about society is counterintuitive. Like, this is the time where people are turning up. This is the time when people are shopping, doing the most. And it's like, no, this is the time for you to power down. It's the time for you to reflect. The darkness is beautiful because it really allows you to see yourself. And people, that may go over some people's heads because a lot of people are afraid of the dark. They're afraid of themselves. but there's such beauty, not only just in being able to see yourself, but the fact that creation comes from darkness. And that's a power that we have within us. And like you said, this is a time for resting. And with Mercury in the pre-retrograde shadow about to go retrograde, this is a time for really reflecting, like meditating, sleeping, especially depending on where like your moon is. You may want to, power down. You may want to sleep more. You may want to withdraw from people. It's one of those times where you conserve your energy, because everyone thinks that January 1st is go time. But the resurrection is right after the winter solstice.
Yeah.
So that's the time where you start to build the momentum, where you start putting pen to paper, where you start taking those first couple of steps. So it's such a powerful time right now. And it's a shame because I feel like there's so many people who are just missing it, right? Like they're just thinking about what Christmas party to go to, and everyone's different on their journey. It's not to be judgmental or anything like that. But when you're really tapped in and you can really follow the cycles of the universe, everything becomes so much easier. Like I say that because I'm still in shock of it. Like
Yes.
thinking about how I used to live before and now, and it's just like the universe provides every single thing. All you have to do is tap in and align to it.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, I'm celebrating Hanukkah. So I got my root. So how I'm celebrating Hanukkah, I'm using these candles. So I got my root chakra candle, got my sacral chakra candle.
It starts tonight?
It starts tonight. And I
Okay.
got my solar plexus chakra, and I got the other colors too. Like you can't really find all the blues for the top 3 chakras, so I used white as the representative of the crown chakra. Now, even it may be too late to get the candles. You could start tomorrow, right? It's whatever. It's a spiritual thing. But again, if you say you're Jews, right, this is what they're doing, and they seem to be successful every year. So I'll elaborate on that in another video. But I just want to say, with this winter solstice again, Guillermo del Toro dropped Pinocchio, and Pinocchio is really about Christmas season, right? It's really an esoteric story about the pine tree again being your body, your central nervous system, being that it's in high parasympathetic right now, where, as you guys are saying, it's about resting and digesting and reflecting and taking things in. This is where, turn up season, everybody's running crazy, trying to run wild. Not saying you can't enjoy yourself a party or New Year's or nothing like that, because I am, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that it's not just a party. You're not just overworking yourself. New Year's Day starts and you're going to go crazy and start doing all these things. You still want to be in a reflective mode. Everything is in hibernation right now. The plants are in hibernation, the animals are in hibernation. Everything is really not growing right now. Everything is kind of soaking up energy. It's like Goku, right? If you watch what's the y'all don't talk about Goku and Vegeta, and when they sitting there charging up before they become Super Saiyan, right? And there might be 3 or 4 episodes where they're just sitting there charging up. This is that time where you want to charge yourself up. So when it starts to get warmer and you start to go out and the spring starts happening, spring is when everything starts budding. Spring is when all the women start coming out, fellas, ladies, the same thing. Everybody starts coming outside, This is when things are going to start manifesting. People want to spend money. People want to congregate. People want to go do different things. This is where you have your businesses, your connections, your network set up. Dragon Ball Z, thank you, Mo. So yeah, this is when you have your everything set up to where you're charging up right now. You're getting your Dragon Ball or your Dragon energy charged up during these next during the 4 days from the 21st to the 25th. And it's the same story of Jesus, being that it's a Sunday, right? He was buried in a cave for 3 days and 3 nights after he died, right? So essentially you're dying to this old world. Your old last year was this year past, You had 2022, you did what you did in 2022, you made whatever mistakes, you had whatever wins. But that shit is old, it's the past, it's a lesson. So now it's about impregnating the new, so to speak, in that darkness. While you have your pineal gland or that pine, right? Pine, Pinocchio, Occhio is Roman for the eye or the oculus. So while you have that energy, and watch Pinocchio, Guillermo del Toro.
I watched.
Oh, you saw it, right? He killed that joint, He killed that joint. And there's a lot of lessons for this reason about not being drunk, about being manipulated by tricksters, right? The Pinocchio story is an esoteric story at its core. And Guillermo del Toro does it better. There was one on Disney Plus that was trash.
Yes, I watched that one too.
Yeah, had no esoteric knowledge whatsoever.
No.
It was whitewashed. This one, Guillermo, he went in,
Yes.
He became a boy. He was like, I'm not listening to this. And he had to learn. And he went through so many things before he learned. And it's the same story of what we're going to be going through, or in the type of dreams that are going to be pumping, especially those 4 days. So you really want to be in tune. A lot of people are going to be with family and friends. You don't want to beat them over the head with this knowledge. People that want to learn will learn. People that want this knowledge, they will come to you, right? They will come to you. Yes, right. Junkyard Jedi says it's all serpent power. Exactly. It's all about serpentine power. It's all about raising your energy. It's all about tuning this endocrine system, these chakra systems, so that you could open them up and open up your third eye, open up your pineal gland. It's really for perception. You want to be able to see what other people can't see. You want to be able to see if something comes down the pike 2023, you have a perception that's not unlike others. Look at what happened in 2020. Look at how many people that was spiritual, that were metaphysical, that were magical, that were into the cult, that fell off, that went back to the church. You know what I'm saying? That's doubling back. Oprah disappeared, right? How many people Oprah done champion over 10, 20 years and she just dipped? I was like, damn, Oprah. You know what I'm saying? The worst
I don't know anything about this. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean Oprah just dipped? I missed it.
She disappeared. Though Oprah wasn't there, she was gone. She was off social media. She didn't give anybody any guidance, anybody any hope. She didn't give anybody any inspiration during the whole pandemic.
You're right. You're right. She went into solitude.
She went to hiding. And there's a lot of people in this community that went into hiding too. I ain't gonna say no names, but I see you. You know what I'm saying? They didn't give any guidance, any help, any inspiration, none of that. They went to hide. And everybody has to handle stress the way they handle stress. But if you're really about this life, when the shit hits the fan, that's when you really know if you're spiritual or not. It's not when everything's going good, not when the bank account is full. It's not when you got the boo. It's not when everything's going well. It's when shit hits the fan. As Kendrick Lamar, the great poet Kendrick Lamar said, when shit hits the fan, are you still a fan? Are you still putting out spiritual energy? Are you still able to guide people? Are you still able to inspire? We're getting in the precipice of a wealth transfer. Everything's going digital, Web3. Are you going to have the perception to see, oh, I need to invest in this, or I need to put some money on this coin? Walmart's having a coin. Shit, this is the first year Walmart's having a coin. Oh, I need to put money in the Walmart coin. Or Amazon's starting a coin. All right, let me put a little $100, $200 here so that it'll flourish for my children, right? And then again, I'm just spitting out some shit so you could think about, right, for 2023, because Web3 is coming. You know what I'm saying? They ain't playing with you. They already got the OpenAI. I don't know if you guys know about OpenAI, but OpenAI, you can literally type in some shit. You could type in something like, what are the chakras? In OpenAI, OpenAI will write a whole article for you, detailed article.
I've heard of
college ready article. And some parts may be wrong, but there's enough in there. I did it myself. There's enough in there where you could submit that, and it's official enough for a book with a little bit of tweaking.
That's all our whole world is about to change. Like everything that we have counted on and believed in is leaving, and it's like, yeah, it's fascinating. That's all I gotta say. I'm sorry.
This computer's for us. Cobalt and coltan comes from the Congo. It comes from Congo's where magic comes from. It's like the most on the Nile Valley region. That's the most ancient place where they discovered that they were doing esoteric practice, that they were doing magic, right? The manipulating of natural magic is just the manipulation of natural energies, right? Manipulating and guiding energy caused knowingly. That's it. It's not some spooky shit that you saw on motherfucking on Harry Potter or your horror movies. It's literally just manipulating natural energy in natural forms. And ancestors are natural energy. People died. Their spirit is alive. You've seen them in your dreams. You put candles there when they die, right? This is real. This is stuff people do. They just don't know why they do it. So really be in tune, and check on your friends and family. Make sure they're okay. People that don't have this knowledge or whatever. Don't beat everybody over the head. This is not Christianity. Don't try to wake nobody up. That's not your job. You want to be woke up. They've been woke up in 2020. Just be God. That's it. God reigns on the wicked and the righteous. There's no bias there. You know, God is love. As corny as that sounds, it is true.
It
God is
is.
love. You know. And with that being said, ladies, talk about your products and services, and then we get out of here.
So I do astrology reports. So I do natal chart reports, progress natal chart reports. I'm running a special on those right now. They're both $60 until January 15th. Because this is the season where you need to know yourself. And I think one of the best ways to start is with your natal chart. So I am tasked with helping people discover who they are, unlocking their divinity, and discovering their magic. All right. And so if you want to get in touch with me on all platforms, it is Divine Feminine Works.
I am, and I also do natal charts, but my specialty, what I really believe in, is teaching people how to use their energy. Like, how does your energy function? And creating spaces for people to heal, because we have been conditioned in mindsets and ways of being that are against our true nature. And we need spaces that allow us to down regulate these old behaviors and then up regulate new ways of being. And I have classes that every month I run a moon cycle class. So this month I have a class that's still open where we're working on the energy for the new moon in Capricorn and the full moon in Cancer. I'm currently running a Mars retrograde class because Mars governs our body, and Gemini is our mind. So we're doing the work in the ritual practice to tune our body into truth, right? Womb work, understanding, like, how many people know that Pisces rules the feet, and Aquarius rules the shins, and Capricorn rules the skeleton, and Cancer rules the breast, and Gemini rules the lungs. Like, these are important things for us to know so that we understand how to heal ourselves. So these are the things that I'm working to teach people. This is the truth. This is what we were taught, but this is the truth. Now, how do we live into this new reality? So you can find me on all of the social media platforms at Monique Ruffin, and you can on my Instagram or my website, which is Monique Ruffin, you can access Follow the Sun. And Follow the Sun is the platform that I have at Mighty Networks, where I teach all of these classes. There are about 300 or so people there now, and I have space for thousands more.
Nice, nice.
I love
No,
that.
where can they find you on social media?
Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. They're all Divine Feminine Works.
Excellent, excellent. Y'all know me. Y'all know who I am. Y'all know where I be. Y'all can follow me here. Follow me on Instagram, on Facebook. I am Watson Rob. I am opening myself up for readings. First, I got to start doing about a strip club arena. Time people talk about their friends, so I'm opening myself up to the masses. So if you're looking for a reading, you're looking for some insight, hit me up. And we will do a reading so you can get some insight on what to look for in 2023. And thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for the likes. If you're new here, subscribe. And I look forward to seeing. We're going to come back again. I think we're going to do this, ladies, every 2 weeks. I think I like it. I like the way it feels. And I think we should do this every 2 weeks. If, time, of course, we got things that's going on, but if we can't, we shall. And yeah. Shout out to the Zodiac Queens. And shout out to you for being here. And with that said, peace, power, and prosperity. We out.
I
Cassie.
really love I really love being at the